या भागात आपण चर्चा करणार आहोत व्हॅल्युएशनची आणि याचं टायटल जर द्यायचं झालं तर इट्स ऑल मनी मनी मनी. वेअर इज द मनी? व्हाय डू पीपल डू व्हॅल्युएशन्स? वन इज compliance. Okay. Some or the other law, some or the other need makes them to do the valuation. Let it be financial reporting, let it be taxation, let it be litigation. But when we talk about valuation from different angles, which are non-statutory purposes, where are they required? आपल्याला व्हॅल्युएशन कायद्याच्या दृष्टीने करायला लागतातच, पण जेव्हा एखाद्याला व्हॅल्युएशनची गरज पडते आणि जी कायद्याच्या दृष्टीने नसते ती केव्हा पडते? आणि खरं सांगायचं तर मी म्हणेन की व्हॅल्युएशनची गरज कायद्याशिवाय सुद्धा आहे आणि ती जास्त आहे. उदाहरण घ्या, आपल्याला फंड रेज करायचे, बिझनेस वाढवायचे, मर्जर करायचे किंवा कुठलंही निगोसिएशन करायचंय, याला व्हॅल्युएशनची गरज पडतेच. सो in this session, in this part, I am going to discuss valuations required for the purpose other than compliance. So let's say compliance need and commercial need. And when I say commercial needs, all lands up finally into money. Okay. So if I want to increase my working capital, or if I want to increase my turnover, or if I want to increase my revenue, or if I want to increase my needs of capital expenditure, all these finally needs funds. If I want to grow the business, how do I grow the business? I can do incremental changes, but with that, is it allowing me to take a quantum jump? And many of the businesses come with that. For example, you study the stories of SME registrations. When there were companies who were not registered on the SME stock exchange and they were SMEs. Today, there are 400 companies registered, of which even 180 have migrated to the bigger stock exchange. फंडिंग करायचं झालं म्हणजे बऱ्याच अडचणी येतात. पहिले तुम्ही बँकेकडे धावता, जर तुम्ही SME असाल तर. तुम्ही जर स्टार्टअप असाल आणि खूप मोठे फंड्स हवे असतील तर तुम्ही PE आणि VCs कडे जाता. पहिल्यांदा तुम्ही फैमिली आणि फ्रेंड्स कडे जाता. तो मैं ये कहने की कोशिश कर रहा हूं कि वैल्यूएशन का मेजर नीड ये हमको किस लिए शुरू हो जाता है कि आज कोई भी चीज के लिए फंड की आवश्यकता है और फंड ही बाकी के रिसोर्स आपके लिए खरीद सकता है. बराबर है. अगर मैं सोचता हूं कि मेरा बिजनेस बड़ा हो जाए लेकिन मेरे पास आइडियल कैपेसिटी है, मैन पावर है, मटेरियल में खरीद सकता हूं, लेकिन मेरे पास अगर मार्केट नहीं है तो क्या करूं? तो मुझे मार्केटिंग एजेंट अपॉइंट करने पड़ेंगे, उनको डिस्काउंट देना पड़ेगा, उनको क्रेडिट पीरियड देना पड़ेगा या डिजिटल मार्केटिंग स्ट्रेटेजी पे खर्चा करना पड़ेगा. नाउ ये सब खर्चा जो है वो कहां से लाऊं मैं? सो मार्केट बढ़ाने के लिए भी पैसा खर्चा करना पड़ता. नाउ ये सब करके उसका रिटर्न आएगा क्या? नहीं. उसका रिटर्न आने वाला है तो कैसा आएगा, कितना आएगा, उसका प्रोबेबिलिटी क्या है, ये सब के लिए फाइनली वैल्यूएशन की जरूरत पड़ती है. अभी हम लोग 3-4 चीजें मैं डिस्कस करने वाला हूं. आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्कस 3-4 थिंग्स विच आर नॉट नोन टू मेनी बिजनेसमैन इजीली. क्योंकि कोई बिजनेस को पूछेंगे तो बैंक कर्जा देता है, मालूम ही है सबको. मुझे अगर मशीन लेना है या गाड़ी लेनी है या मेरे इन्वेंट्री के लिए फाइनेंसिंग करना है तो कर्जा मिलता है, ये सबको मालूम है. माइक्रो फाइनेंस भी अवेलेबल है लोगों को, जो 5,000 रुपए मिलता है जो छोटे छोटे व्यवसाय करने के लिए. सो माइक्रो फाइनेंस अवेलेबिलिटी एंड कैश क्रेडिट एक्सेट्रा वर्किंग कैपिटल or the loans against the security of a certain capital asset. These are all known things. So I am going to discuss the areas and territories which are uncharted territories, which are unknown territories. For example, and let me go one by one. ज्या गोष्टींमध्ये लोकांनी पाऊल ठेवलेलं नाहीये किंवा सामान्य बिझनेसमॅनला, सामान्य म्हणजे नाही, कुठलाही बिझनेसमॅन हा असामान्यच असतो, कारण ते जो तो रिस्क घेतो, त्याची एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप दाखवतो आणि त्यातले काही ब्रिलियंट इंजिनियर सुद्धा असतात. ते असामान्य असतं, त्यात शंकाच नाही. माझ्यासारखा फायनान्सचा माणूस त्यांना काही फार शिकवू शकणार नाही. पण फायनान्समध्ये मी शिकलेल्या, व्हॅल्युएशनमध्ये मी शिकलेल्या काही गोष्टी ज्या सामान्यतः सगळ्या एंटरप्रेन्योर्सना माहिती नसतात, ते सांगायचा मी प्रयत्न करतोय आणि त्याची उदाहरणं घेतोय मी. त्यामुळे मी ह्या डिस्कशनमध्ये कॅश क्रेडिट किंवा मशीनसाठी सिक्युअर्ड लोन घेतलेलं किंवा एखादं छोटं कर्ज घेतलेलं मायक्रो फायनान्स पद्धतीचं याच्यावर डिस्कस करणार नाही, कारण याच्यावर बरंच वाङ्मय इझिली अवेलेबल आहे. मग आपण आता काय डिस्कस करतोय, तर पहिल्यांदा आपण डिस्कस करतोय फॅक्टरिंग सर्व्हिसेस. तुम्ही लोकांनी SBI फॅक्टरिंग ऐकलं असेल. फॅक्टरिंग करणं म्हणजे काय, तर आपल्या गरिबाच्या भाषेत आपण त्याला बिल्स डिस्काउंटिंग म्हणू. व्हॉट आर फॅक्टरिंग सर्व्हिसेस? इन सिम्पल लँग्वेज कॉल देम बिल डिस्काउंटिंग. बट are we going to decide and discuss factoring and forfeiting? Now here I am not talking about FORFAITING. I am not saying FORFEITING. I am talking about FAITING. Forfeiting, factoring, which is talked internationally, is a great method of finance for the businesses which are light asset businesses. What are light asset businesses? IT sector. If you start IT sector company, there are hardly any fixed asset. Human beings are your assets. Now human beings can't be taken to balance sheet. Human beings can't be kept hypothecation. So then what remains? What you are remaining is, you are talking about your debtors. And when you have two things to do. One, collection effort to collect the money, which may require a project certification. And second, the client's delays, client's financial positions, etc. In the whole process, you have two-pronged challenges. One, collection efforts, and second, risk of bad debts. This is called as with and without remedy. आपण ज्याला जो फॅक्टरिंग सर्व्हिसेस प्रोव्हाइड करणारी जी संस्था असते किंवा बँक असते, आपण SBI फॅक्टर बद्दल बोलतोय, तर त्यांच्याकडे गेलं की ते तुम्हाला म्हणतील, तुमचे जर लाईट बिझनेस असेल ज्याच्यामध्ये ऍसेट्स असतील, तर तुमचे डेटर्स आम्ही कलेक्शन करू शकतो, ॲट द सेम टाइम त्याचं डायरेक्ट एंट्रीज करू शकतो आणि त्याचा फॉलोअप करू शकतो, त्यांच्यावर लिगल ऍक्शन घेऊ शकतो. म्हणजेच तुम्ही आउटसोर्सिंग ऑफ द कलेक्शन फंक्शन करत असता. यू आर आउटसोर्सिंग द कलेक्शन फंक्शन. नाउ व्हेन यू आउटसोर्स द कलेक्शन फंक्शन, आयदर यू गेट अ फंडिंग because that collection may take time. So in a way you get the financing for the interim period, plus the factoring services are doing the efforts of collection. The small and medium sized companies may not need the marketing efforts at all. Talk to Bank of Baroda, talk to State Bank of India, talk to various organizations we are providing factoring services. Now the factoring could be domestic or international. There you might need international guarantees, ECGC guarantees. So considering all that, this is one area which has been very much untapped. The people can totally focus on getting new orders and running the business. So whenever one goes for the areas of business handling, compliance is a headache, execution or production is a headache, marketing is another challenge, and the fourth is cash flow is a challenge. That cash flow challenge, if you have a light business, you can always outsource it. Coupled with that, maybe at a higher interest rate, which is called as a without remedy. So if State Bank factoring services provides the factoring to you without a remedy, it means that bad debt risk they are taking. So this is one variety. Any SME or any businessman, whether for local and especially for exports, should take guidance from us anytime. We come to now the financing of the other types. We have a lot of non-funded possibilities, non-funded limit, which people ignore. So for example, many government tenders you are going, they ask you the deposit. Then when you say, can I give a bank guarantee? You can always give that. And in that case, you are able to use the non-funded facilities which do not affect your cash flow. At the most, you will have to keep some margin money. Now, there are some companies who have been able to grow like anything because of the non-funded facilities like letters of credit, bank guarantees, corporate guarantees, etc. The third area which I am going to discuss is, friend families first provide you, But the next one is PEs and VCs. Have you attended anything called as the Global Startup Club? If not, come with me. Come with me, I will show you how the mini Shark Tank people are also available there. You may not be the one which will be going on the scene of Shark Tank, but you may be the one which have a great model. But don't do a mistake of saying, if I start a business means I have a startup. No, startup has to have a unique idea, and unique idea means where between the demand and supply, there is a very visible gap available. So you can have a smallest of the startup and can grow to the biggest of the possibility. So when we see medtech, edtech, edutech, captech, pharmatech, then we realize that how they have filled up the gap. Now, interestingly, recently we received an award called Edutech Entrepreneur Award from the great Dada Saurabh Ganguly, and that will give you an idea that how edutech can also prosper, because I am also into consulting as well as training. Now, when we do the funding, how do you get the funding? You need to build a brand. So, for example, the first step we took to build our brand was we aimed at Limca record in as early as the very first year of my leaving of the corporate and getting into business or consulting. We had a Limca record done in 2011, and that gave us a great outreach also. Now that great outreach helped us to get some funding from the private investors as well. Now when you see that, the brand development also goes by your intangible assets. Do you have the export recognition? For example, in our case, we have a recognition from IFRS Foundation body. We have a tie-up for them for material. We are also registered learning partner for ACCA London. Now these things do make a difference when you want to come up as a global player. And there are many associations, whether it is Arthaarth of Smitaji, where we are talking on this platform, or if you talk about SME association, or you come to Association of Valuation Professionals, of which I am a president and we run, all these things can help you. And there are players which are helping you. You are seeing that Tata's, Ambani's, they are also putting the money in startups. So ideas have no dearth, but financing needed, there is unlimited scope. Do come up with new ideas, innovative ideas, and I am sure you will be able to make it a grand success. Having said that, I talked about four things. One is factoring, second is non-funded limits, third is creation of a brand and making that to attract the investor. Fourth is jumping into the P's and VCs if you have started growing, and one by one rounds you can capture actually. Having said that, what is your business model makes a lot of importance. And where can you capture the business model? Nothing but valuation. And I always remember, what cannot be measured cannot be managed. So this session I am concluding by saying, while we have many more sessions to come, I am concluding by saying that we have to do the valuations even for the sake of it. Don't you do the balance sheet and profit and loss just for compliance purpose? But do you look at your own balance sheet, your own net worth at a value which is going to be a future value? And if I have to sell my business, at what price I can sell it? And that is what is my present value. So the discounted cash flow techniques, arriving at the valuations of that and looking into the future and what should be the business strategy for that is something which is taught to the businessman by our valuation exercises. So don't aim at by saying that the valuation exercise just gives me a figure. No, it gives you the approach to the future. It gives you the strategy to the future. Be in touch with us anytime for learning why, how the valuation, even for other than the statutory purposes. Thank you.